Parabrahma absolutely divine, necessity of understanding Parabrahma divine, benefits of understanding them is divine and flawless. Totally flawless, absolutely flawless, realizing God's action incidents that are redemptive, very dharma of a devotee, perfect devotee of a God, truly flawless, can transcend Maya. All worldly actions and incidents being divine is bhakti. Only a person with such bhakti can be called a devotee. It's only that who attains highest state, no difficulties in subduing desires with motivations, ageless and deathless, free for karmas, and cycles of birth and death, divine and human characteristic of manifest form, God considered as equally divine, true bliss, and worshiping God is attained. Nothing else left to do, fault free. Lost due to pursuing human traits, constant obstacles while performing spiritual endeavors, never freed from the flaws, cannot overcome Maya. It remains in the cycle of births and deaths, repeatedly upset, alternately perceives flaws and virtues in God, becomes heart becomes more despondent, falls from satsang, vicious thoughts, suffers at the greatly at the time of death, flaws never become eradicated. Shiva Sashing may have been like the full moon of Punam, but becomes like the dark moon of Amas, never transcends cycle of births and deaths. So never transcends cycle of births and deaths, flaws never be eradicated, suffer vicious thoughts. That's you, a dark moon of Amas, upset, flaws, fall from satsang, despondent, upset, liberation very difficult. Powers program the divine falls extraordinary above Maya, the good and Indriya's Maya, Indriya's, and the good of Mana until one overcomes what's wrong with the essence of all Shastras, the all pervasive, constant, absolute, constantly above Maya, falls unaffected by mercy, all amounts, extraordinary, totally divine, never even slightest Maya attribute, deterioration, bodily attachment, or human trait of any sort. Human trait, human divine is Vedic form up to them. All permit divine extremely luminous, refute hands, feet, actually reviewing Maya can't, God form not Maya, but is very divine. It is the entities that have evolved out of the three guns of Maya, Panchbhuts, Indriyas, and the good and presiding devas are never in God form at any single time, divine and human form on earth. Suppresses divinity for benefit of Jeeves. Jeeves never Maya, God of compassion for the liberated Jeeves, he incarnates on earth. So realizes the same regarding the manifest form, uniform form of God. So the form of God in Akshardham is the same one as in human form on earth, and perfectly known God. Phases of childhood, youth, old age, apparently God, those are illusion, absolutely unchanged. That's divine in a human form on earth. Human form, so human form is unchanged. It just comes on her divinity, compassion, liberated Jesus, realize both the Akshardham form, human form to be the same. All the worldly illusions, they are an illusion, they're not real. To liberate Jeeves, allow the Jeeves to offer the nine times of bhakti, that God who has becomes like a human out of compassion, not even an iota of difference between the God in Akshardham and the God that is on earth. BS, flawless and divine, slightest bit of lust, anger, avarice, egotism, jealousy enters, and none of that. Bhadrishes, slight stays, no affection towards Bhadrishes, even though he's constantly physically in contact, he doesn't harbor any desire, not even in his dreams. Not even in his dreams, never harbored improper thought regarding wealth of woman, either in waking state or dreaming state, eternally flawless. Manifest nothing says, eternally flawless and divine. So benefits of understanding them is divine and flawless, now it's flawless and divine. Three bodies, Sukshma in three states, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Not to believe any of the actions of the 14 Indriyas to affect him, suppresses actions of Maya's Guna Indriyas and the Karan, forms activities related to God, observance of five vows. Worthy of being worshipped on par with God or attain liberation and service of the Son. We have divine through his all pervasive unveiling form. So even though he pervades all the Jad and Chaitanya entities, the Atmas, he is completely untouched by their Maya internal flaws. Akash mainly eternally unaffected. Akash pervades the four bhoots. But it remains unaffected by those four bhoots. So those four bhoots does not affect Akash. So despite dwelling in those four bhoots, Akash remains absolutely unaffected. So this all pervasive, you can think of it as Akash. It's not formless like Akash, but in the same way that the four bhoots don't affect Akash, Bhagavan resides in all of these entities that he's in their Atma, but he is absolutely unchanged, and all the Maya attributes don't, Sadash Maya and other don't influence, divine despite being the all-doer, sustainer, controller, governor, destroyer of infinite universes. But no action to perform by anyone can actually affect him. He does not become bound by anything. Even though he is the all-doer, enjoyer, and destroyer, eternally flawless, eternally unaffected, pure, untainted, untouched by all the flaws and changes of karmas and vishayas. He is beyond their influence, Akshar the true definition of the Akshar the second in importance, we know it's called the Akshardham Brahmapur. His clear description is given in the Vacharamrut and is not given anywhere else, even though these facts may be in the Shastras, right? Akshar Brahma Shrutis, Purans, other Hindu Shastras. In the Shastras, they give many different interpretations, and one cannot attain the true interpretation just from reading the Shastras. We have these Shastras, these commentaries, and they certainly state that Brahma and Brahma are distinct and different tattvas, but there's no fully comprehensive description about these different differences in their form, nature, and purpose. And so, because of their distinctness of Brahma and Parabrahma, there have been many interpretations that have been derived just from the single word, a group of words. They state that Brahma and Parabrahma are different tattvas, but there's no fully comprehensive description. They're often used synonymously. So people think that, okay, they're the same, but they are in fact never not the same. They're two completely distinct tattvas. Right? But Maharaj has given in the Vajra the notion of how they are distinct. It has not been made clear in the Shastras, nor has it been made clear in the Vedanta darshans. Maharaj has explained the necessity of Akshar Brahma, the path, and the true definition he has explained. And he also not as only clarified the form and nature of Akshar Brahma, but he also has brought that Akshar Tattva onto this earth in a human manifest form and identified as GS as that. So one should become Brahma association with manifest form of Akshar Brahma, and then offer Bhakti and Brahma. All could actually attain ultimate liberation. The necessity of understanding the form of Akshar Brahma. So to develop true conviction in Brahma as well as to attain the state of Akshar Rup, that is to become Brahma, to attain true conviction in Brahma. So our Indriyas and Antakaran Mayik, God is not Mayik, but was imperceptible to our Mayik Indriyas and Antakaran. But faith in God only does so through the Shastras. Only faith developed through the Shastras remains staunch. The Shastras cannot be understood in their true context by anyone except an Ekantik Bhakt. That's because the conviction in God, wherever divine possesses a form, it can only be attained to someone who actually understands that. It can't be attained by anyone else. So to attain true conviction. So AB is the only one that has true conviction, and because he is the closest to him, he is eternally above Maya, closest of all to Parabrahma. So no one can understand the glory of PB to the extent that AB can. So in Shastra, the only way to understand the Shastra is to hear them being narrated by AB and and even though AB dwells in all these Akshar things, he dwells in Akshar Brahma totality. Even the Akshar Mukhs don't possess the power that Akshar Brahma has. So only Akshar Brahma has the most power. He's able to control infinite universes. So when the sun rises or dawn, we're able to determine east and other directions. So sun rises, all 10 directions can be determined in relation to him. So that's the analogy, is when we realize Brahma, we are able to associate with and realize the form of Parabrahma as well, and understand the true glory of Parabrahma. So recognize and understand the glory of AB first, and associate with through outward deeds to develop true conviction. Only after knowing AB can one know PB. Analogy is Jad is the cause of Prithvi. We know Tej is the cause of Jad, Vayu is the cause of Tej, Akash, all this Mata is the cause of Ahamkar, Pradhan Purush, cause of Mata and the Murpukati Brahma, cause of Pradhan Purush. The cause of all these is AB, which is the about PB. So even above AB, it is above all. So one retains Brahma, attains Brahma, to become Brahma, Shri Jumana, command to become Brahma, and offer upasan towards God. I define oneself with Brahma separate from the three bodies. Sthul Sukshma Karanari, which is also casual, eternally offer devotion to God. S 116, and he is distinct from that Akshar Parabrahm's light, which is not in this section, of SM's command to become Brahma and offer upasan to God. To attain the highest level of Nirukha faith, we know Nirukha without initiative. Highest level of Nirukha faith, infinite millions of Brahmas are mere atoms for Akshars, the greatness abode of Parabrahma. Worship Purushottam, having Akshar Rup can be said to possess the highest level of Nirukha. So who can be said to have possessed the highest level of Nirukha faith is one who worships Purushottam after having become Akshar Rup or Brahma Rup, mainly Akshar Rup. And so this is every evening. This is the prayer that is sung in the evening, the eligibility to offer highest level of devotion. So sadhan bhakti is the 9th type of devotion. The highest bhakti is sadhya bhakti, is when you are able to do that after becoming Brahma. So only one who has Brahma has the right to offer bhakti to Purushottam. That is all 7. One who becomes Brahma, mind is content, does not grieve in any way, does not crave for any object, equality towards all living creatures. It's the highest level of devotion. What is that highest level of devotion? Sadhya bhakti. Right? And that sadhya bhakti comes from only one who is someone who is Brahma Rup, to be able to offer a truly higher and complete level of devotion, not just the 9 types, not just the nine steps, but after one becomes Brahma, one eligible to offer Sadhya Bhakti, which is the highest level of devotion. The one who becomes Brahma with mind is content, does not grieve, not crave for any object. So these are the characteristics of one who becomes Brahma, so that he is able to offer the highest level of devotion to BB. So to be able to offer devotion free of any obstacles. So we know these obstacles are lust, anger, greed, affection, ego, envy, jealousy, love, and hate, attachment to family and relatives, attachment to the bunch cliches, shortcomings, drawn to the bunch cliches, all flaws, and identifying himself with the body. But Atma realization, one who has Atma realization is able to not have any affection for any of these worldly desires. To believe oneself to be Atma distinct from the body, not harbor any love for one's body or other relatives, no longer be any hindrances of bhakti to God. That's why I believe oneself to be the Atma. And so without that, even Satchidananda Swami, who used to experience Samadhi, he suffered because he did not believe himself to be the Atma, to be Brahma, that God resides within. And so we know that in this universe, there is no man who does not desire a woman, no woman who does not desire a man. These are the pleasures that are innate among us. These are the pleasures that are made innate among us that we need to remove. The inner enemies of lust, anger, avarice, infatuation, certainly distress someone who cannot behave as the Atma. So characteristics of behaving as the characteristics of not behaving as Atma, these different vices and these different the Panchvishayas do infiltrate the heart and mind. And so that is why if the virtue is Atma realization is lacking, then the devotee vrittis, they become disturbed and they develop love for other things. But they can be removed if one becomes Brahmru. So that is why offering devotion. We know Shivji Mohini, we know Saraswati, Brahma, also Indra Chandra, other devs were also punished due to their mistakes. Also perceive worldly attributes, even in God. And we know that King Parikshit, the last episode, as well. For ultimate liberation, Mukti is to become Brahma, render service of whatever there. Videya Mukti is after death, free of all influences via the Archiman. It can also be attained even when one is alive, which is called Jivan Mukti. Atma to become Brahma, and Purushottam, and worshipping Purushottam. So that is for ultimate liberation, right? You need to become Brahma in order to be able to have the ability to render service to PB. Even when he is alive, because he is able to become Brahma. So that is for ultimate liberation. So Jivan Mukti or Videya Mukti. So you need to become Brahma in order to attain Jivan Mukti or Videya Mukti. If you can't offer bhakti after becoming, then you can't said to have attained ultimate liberation. It is Sri Jivan's heartfelt wish and principle. So many deficiencies will remain until these devotees understand his inner wishes. And so Maharaj says that other avatars have incarnated on this earth so that the Jeeves to destroy demons, first physical occurrence, but his incarnation is due to the purpose of making the Jews from granting them ultimate liberation. And so he wants to eradicate even the smallest of deficiency among his disciples. And he explains this. I don't wish for anything else other than to eradicate the form of improper swabhavas within your heart. So I don't want to have any trace of my three guns, 10 indriyas, 4 the currents, Panchvishayas, and the deities of 14 realms to remain. Make all of you such that you offer bhakti without realizing your true form to be the Atma. All right, so once the devotee read the 5 Vajramrits, and then Swami Saurabh and said, it is as if I have never heard these Vajramrits. And then he said, read them again. The devotee read them again. And he said, listening, I conclude that even after millions of years, without behaving in this way, there is no other final release. And so that he was able to realize that after reading the Vajramrits and SVs, he's able to realize this is the only way. This is the only way to actually attain ultimate liberation. This is Sri Maharaj's heartfelt wish and principle. And so where will you install it? If you want to install God, then where will you install Purushottam? Right. So if you want to install Purushottam, you need to become Brahma. In the same way, if you have a murti but you don't, without a mandir, where will you actually install it? Right. Without a mandir, you need to create that mandir within your heart. So that is, since it is Sri Maharaj's heartfelt wish and principle, you can think of you create that mandir in your heart so that the murti is actually able to reside there. It is his wish, purpose of other avatars. Many deficiencies will remain. Understanding Vaishnavas Sees thou make all of you offer bhakti, realizing true form, characterize it, Sachidanand, remove all the works of Brahma from the heart, become Brahma. Necessity of understanding AB to become help one, become a true professor of medicine, or become doctor, professor, engineer. Necessity of manifest AB to in order to become Brahma. So he's a specialist in any field, so subject essential to associate with one who is already an expert in that field. So only possible to become Brahma by recognized associated with AB and thought word indeed. That is a necessity, so that professor analogy. Imperfections that have taken tens of millions of births, if a true God realized how it was attained, one does as he says, follows his commands. Associating I want to become Brahma. So that the necessity of AB to help one become a Ashrup is to follow his commands, associate with him thoughtfully, continuous contemplation, you acquire his virtues. Yeah, you acquire his virtues. One and unique, so G1 and G310, saying that we have the five others, but they can't, this Akshara cannot be incorporated. It is unique, it is characterized Sachidanand. Maya is Jada, non-sentient. Jeeves and AB is always eternally above. AB is one and unique. Difference between Jeeves and Ishwars and AB. Brahma appear to be similar, but they're vastly different. Absolutely different. The divine light is mentioned at Brahma Satya. That Akshara Brahma is a different tattva than Brahman is divine light. So we know Purushottam is greater than even Akshara, which is greater than even everything. And transcending that Brahma is the Brahma who is distinct from Brahma, and he's the cause, supporter, and inspirer of Brahma. It's higher, P.B. is higher, behind Akshara, higher than Akshara, as the governor of Akshara. So the crux, the structure of AB unique among all tattvas is it starts out by saying that there are these five tattvas in G1 and from G1 and G310. The nature of Akshara is that it's characterized by Satchidan. It's always eternally above Maya. Compares that with the Jeeves and Ishwars. And then it says that Brahma and Aparabhrahma, even though they appear to be similar, they're completely distinct. They're totally distinct. And it says, and it gives the hierarchy that PB is always eternally above AB. And it's a different tattva than the divine light itself, form of AB. Characterized by eternal existence, consciousness, and bliss. Eternally, it transcends Maya. It pervades Jeeves, Ishwaras, Maya, and the entities of all. It's the supporter, controller, ruler of infinite universes. We have Anvay and Vyataric forms. The Anvay form is the eminent form, Vyataric is the transcendent. Personified form of AB, Akshardham, personal servant Akshar, that is the Vyataric form. And the Anvay form is the Chidakash form that pervades Jivishwar Maya and its evolence and the countless millions of Brahmans. Sagura is the positive, infinite positive qualities larger than largest objects. We have the Mount Girna comparison, but compared to Mount Geru, it appears small. But Mount Meru appears to be extremely small when you compare to Mount Lokalok. So the Brahmas that remain exactly up there, but comparison to the vastness of Akshara is actually very incredibly small. As to the infinite qualities, infinite liberating qualities, the vastness, and the Nirguna aspect is extremely subtle, smaller than even atom, because it's devoid of any mundane and Maya attributes. Sakara Nirakan form of AB. Akshara has two forms. One is formless and pure Chaitanya, and that other form Akshara remains in the service of PB. So we have as Satyana luminous Chidakash. Sustains Maya in all of its absolutes. Chidakash, supporter of everything, not destroyed, subject to change, is eternal and endless. Neither created or destroyed. Neither created or destroyed. It pervades. It's the all-pervasive Anvay form. It's also its Nirgun form. Countless millions of Brahman dwell within this Chidakash. It pervades everything and sustains Maya in all of its attributes. It's a supporter and is not subject to change. It does not undergo any states of expansion or contraction. It remains untouched by Mayic traits. The abode, the Dham itself, is the place of residence where PB actually dwells in. And in that AD, PB, within it, PB resides with the personal stable form of Akshara and the innumerable have acquired divine forms. So PB resides within that. So go look, we know abode of Sri Krishna, Vaikunth, Sri Lakshminara, Badrikasham, Sri Narayana, Shweti. We know that Akshardham is the abode. So the abode, it uses different analogies of abodes. We know go look, Sri Gana, Vaikunth is Lakshminara, Badrikasham, Narayana, right? And then Dham is form a description of a Dham, as well as who PB resides with in that Dham. unchanging, eternal, highest abode, not have any states of contraction or expansion, forever in the same state. Countless millions float within each and every single pore of AD. It has a definite form, but it's impossible to perceive because it's extremely vast, it's infinite, it's boundless. Neither created or destroyed, without beginning, without end. Eternal servant, a divine human form in the servant. So it first describes what it is, which is a human form, personified human form. Example of devotion, power, excellence, and service. It's the human form down with hands, feet, always engaged in the devotion service of PB. Manifest on earth as the Guru. So it says that he always is accompanied by his ADs and his attendants. Should realize the form of God all along with AD is present on this earth. It's always present with AD on this earth through the manifest forms, like the mind of a magician. Appears to be ordinary human, but so the structure of this is manifest of the form of liberation associated with our word AD. To talk about that, it's not the slightest difference between, he does not have any mic qualities, absolutely unchanged. The same form here as an extra on the faces of childhood, or it does not affect him, perceived to be through yogic powers. Simply this way of the worldly actions are not mic, they're divine. But it says come here, right, on this earth, right, with his AB. With his AB Washington, with all of his powers. It's actually brought in the form of the celebration on earth. So then we have this scriptural references. So we have Nilakal Putru, we have GS Omnivat, we have Pushtam Charitra, we have Kirtan Kastambla, we have Kirtan Avdi, Satsang Sahitya Ratnavana, Kavya Kusmavadu. And then authentic letter is the SM to Africa, endless source of universes. We have Radha SKV, Kalyan Vantali 500. Paraman says eternal abode. We know he eats very well, eternally beholds me in his three states. Grasps Murti as if he is holding a pair of tongues. 6 sadhus, so on your right of the gates. Sadhu's burden. Maharaj Swami K. Can I leave? He said, yes. And Maharaj wanted to Sami told that the sadhu's burden. Well, actually, so the 6 sadhus, but the healthy were actually embarrassed on those quotes. And we also have the one that does not go never have to be changed. Like Kurji Dave, he gives him, that was his promise that he gives him. We saw that Maharaj was actually walking backwards, so that Gurunatha Swami is able to face him and so constantly saw him at all times. We have Nurshi Anand Kangra's Udvarchi Patel does not then incur the sin of destroying countless universes, of destroying one Brahmana for every Gangra. And then we have other historic, which is in the Shikarbhat Mandir at Jethpur, Silver Murti of GS, marble throne and assembly hall of that Mandir. Also have other inscriptions in the Murtis as well. AD, we have Monkiba, who created a shrine where the spot where GS was cremated, and SM's footprints are there as well. Old assembly of Junagadh Mandir over called magnificent oil painting of GS, and the inscription is Anadi Mulakshmi GS. There's also Sihasan and a Chokri in Junagadh as well, where GS used to bathe, marble shrine, in the circumambulation walkway. Circumambulation. Form of Ishvars. Not liberated, they're absorbed with their casual body, where there's their Avakrut body. So Viraj Sutraman Avakrut. And then they emerge, and then they get evolved in the process of creation and merge with the Maya and become active again. Unmade Patrick forms of Ishwar, similarities between Ishwars and Jeeves. And we'll stop there.